Hello, everyone. My name is Shane, and I want to welcome you to the Expat Odyssey. I'm here in my condo with the beautiful skyline of Kuala Lumpur, with the iconic Petronas Towers in the background. And the reason we're here today is because I wanted to have a little talk with with people who happen to belong to my demographic, people who are visually impaired, who somewhere fall on the spectrum of low vision, either being completely blind or somewhere in the middle, kind of in the middle, kind of not. The purpose of this channel is not only for me to document a lot of my expat experiences traveling around the world, it's also to show that when you actually can take the initiative, when you don't let the limitations that other people or that society superimposes on you, that you can break out. You can live a life that you can enjoy. But you may ask, okay, Shane, what's under the surface of that? Like, what do you mean? I've been visually impaired, which I prefer to say visually impaired, but technically I'm considered legally blind. I've been legally blind all of my life. I was born with a condition called optic nerve hypoplasia. Basically what that means is that the nerves that connect your eyes to your brain are very thin. So the information that's sent across them is not so much as it is for somebody that has perfect optic nerves, perfect nerve connectings between their eyes and their brain. And to somebody who has lived with this all of my life, it is all I have known. So it's just something I'm used to, but something that I was not told as a teenager, as someone who, even as an early adult, I was not told to the extent of the barriers that are placed in front of us. A lot of people, they're not really going to get into it. You pretty much have to figure it out for yourself. And I think that really puts people at a distinct disadvantage to not understand the full magnitude of their circumstances and what that has in store for their life. What I mean by that is that we have government organizations in my country, the United States. They'll call them different things. Across the board, I'm just going to refer to it as a Commission for the Blind. And they're in different states. But largely, from my own personal experience, and I can't speak for everybody because everybody, I'm not here to be biased. I'm here to just speak from my own personal experience. But unfortunately, my experience is consistent with a lot of people, is that they don't really do a lot. You'll try to contact them, you'll send them an email, you'll send them a few emails, you give them a call over the phone, and you just don't hear from them. And when you do hear from them, they're not really doing much. Similarly, when they connect you to some of these employment agencies that are supposed to help people that are blind and visually impaired, it's there's a lot left to be desired. It's quite disappointing. And when you consider the fact that 70% of blind and visually impaired people are unemployed, that is an astounding number. But what I'm here to talk about is not about how bad everything is or how organizations, either government or NGO, that they could do more. This is about how you can do more, how you can take your life into your own hands and not have a story to tell that's going to make yourself sad for yourself, but others as well. This is about taking ownership over your life. And I'm a big fan of Jocko Willink. He wrote the book Extreme Ownership. And if you haven't read the book, please read the book. Because it's not just what a person needs to know if they're in some sort of a leadership role, you need to know it for yourself. Because this is going to set you up for success. When you can unapologetically say to yourself and to others, you know what? I'm at fault. I have made a mistake. That will empower you. So what do I mean by this? I spent years working, but before working, I was unemployed for a number of years because I didn't have enough work experience. The deck was stacked against me. But I didn't let that stop me. What did I do? I got into retail. Last resort. I did. I got into retail. I worked in different retail stores, some of the best known stores in the United States. And at one in particular, I worked overnight shift. Mind you, I have a visual impairment, and in a hardware department, whenever you're trying to put little nuts and bolts where they belong to the exact barcode, when the labels, even for people that are sighted, for people that can see, it's difficult. This is what I did. So long story short, I did retail for a very long time. At the end of that, I ended up contacting an Ability One agency, associated agency with the Ability One program called LCI, LC Industries. Ended up working at the U.S. Army installation called ERDIC, Engineer Research and Development Center in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Mind you, I was in New York, not New York City, but New York State. And because I was in one of these small towns in upstate New York, even for people that aren't disabled, there's a lack of opportunity. So what did I do? I packed up, I had a suitcase, a small suitcase, and a backpack. And what did I do? I got on a plane and I flew to Vicksburg, Mississippi. LCI, they took care of my airfare, they took care of my rent, security deposit. They made sure that I was able to get myself established, start working, and have a fulfilling job, which it was, especially with the pandemic that hit right after I had gotten hired on. I'm telling you, thank God, because otherwise there's no telling what the situation could have been. Here's what I'm trying to say. When I wanted to get to Texas, because that's where I'm from, that's where I'm originally from, born and raised, contacted another employer in Vision, Dallas. They had a call center. I had no call center experience. But what I did have is people skills and being tech savvy. I'm able to navigate that very well. Got in there, what did I do? Started off as an agent, progressed to a team lead, progressed from a team lead to the call center manager. Mind you, within 3 years, I did all this. Within 3 years, because I took the opportunities that presented themselves. You have to do that. You have to get out of your comfort zone. The onus is on you. If you don't like the situation that you're in, or if you're a student, or if you're a young person that's legally blind, you need to hear this. You need to be prepared to make sacrifices. You need to be prepared to move to a place that you don't know. You need to be prepared to grow in ways that you may not have thought of before. With all of this said, you're seeing, I'm in a luxury condo right now, a luxury condo. You're seeing the skyline of Kuala Lumpur. You're going to be wondering, what the hell happened? How do you go from not being able to work to working in retail for years to this? More of that will come out later. I'll talk about that later in videos that follow this one. But the point of the matter is this. If you want to succeed, decide to succeed. Success doesn't just happen. It takes deliberate articulation. It takes deliberate decision making that you have to make. You have to decide that I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm going to do what it takes so that I don't end up as another 70%er without a job, without a quality of life that I could be pleased with. Now, one thing I do want to say, and I say this respectfully because I'm a part of a community, the blind and visually impaired community. Unfortunately, you are the company that you keep to a great extent. So what does that mean? A lot of blind people, a lot of visually impaired people, they have a very defeatist mentality. They have the kind of mentality where they're telling each other and they're telling themselves, oh, we can't do it. We can't do this. We can't have this. We can't have that. We can't achieve. We can't. And that's the kind of mentality that you have to nip in the butt. Because If you're telling yourself that and you're telling other people that, you're dragging each other down. And that's not going to help anybody. What do you have to do? Be mindful who you keep as friends. Be mindful who you keep as associates. And remember, you got to keep your eye on the ball. So you're going to be asking, Shane, well, how do I do this? How did you get over here? How did you get to be an international traveler, traveling around the world, and here in Kuala Lumpur? Sacrifice. It's the number one word. Getting out of the comfort zone. That's it. And what that entails is that when you have gotten yourself an education, which I definitely advise you to do, I'm originally from Texas. If you want a free education where there's no cost of tuition, you don't have to pay for the books, go to Texas. I'm telling you, go to Texas. Go to the University of Texas. Go to A&M. There are so many universities in Texas that you can go to, and it will cost you zero. It will cost you nothing. Nothing. And that is not an understatement. Secondly, if college is not for you, then look into the Blind Institute of Technology. The Blind Institute of Technology. They offer different training programs where they, after you finish the training program, they directly connect you to employers that are hiring for the skill set that you have or will have. When you have that, that's going to be a game changer. It's going to be an absolute game changer, because when you have that under your belt, that you got yourself an education in something, mind you, if it's a trade school, which Blind Institute of Technology is largely an IT trade school, or if you've been to university, that's going to set you up for success. Now, say you've got around 5 years of working experience under your belt. I don't care what that kind of working experience is. You could be working in a factory for 5 years. Say you're working in a factory full-time for 5 years. If you're working full-time at a factory for 5 years, you're working on your education at something like Blind Institute of Technology, you're doing two things for yourself. You're setting yourself up to be able to get out of the to be able to get out of these states, to be able to elevate your quality of life, to elevate your standing in this world. When you have worked enough, you will have Social Security disability insurance available to you after you've applied and gone through the waiting period, and you've met the definition of disability for what that means. For me, I'm legally blind, so that's my disability. When you have your SSDI check, when you have a check coming in from a remote job that you can get at one of these organizations, for example, Blind Institute of Technology, they're just the educator. They'll help you connect with employers. If you have these two, you can be free. You can have a great cost of living. You can have a great quality of life. You can experience new things. And best of all, you can be happy. You can be happy, but it's on you. I've seen a lot of people in my professional background and in my personal background where people make excuses. Don't make excuses for allowing yourself to live a life that is less than what it could have been, or that is less than, or that it's just less than as you're living now. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to put together in this message. On this channel, I'm going to be talking to you, doing questions and answers, primarily just to show my expat experiences, but because I belong to a demographic like the disabled community, the blind and visually impaired community, I want to be able to support my community from afar. But another thing I want to say is that you have no idea what it is like in the third world. Things that I have seen. In the Philippines, for example, you have people that are disabled. They can't even walk. They can't even talk. And they're on the sidewalk with no shoes. And people just walk up to them and give them a few pesos here and there. You have no idea the blessing that you have been given to be an American. I'm an American, so I'm speaking to the blind and visually impaired community in America. You have no idea the magnitude of that blessing. There are so many companies out there. There are so many employers out there that are looking for people to work with them. But the people, they're just not willing to get out of the comfort zone, or they have a support system that they need. And I'm not going to knock that. There are people that do need support systems where it's very difficult to just get up and go. If that's you, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person who wants more for their life. I'm talking to the person who wants to be an achiever to the extent that they may not have a support system. I had no support system. I had none. I struggled. I did. I struggled. Life has changed, thank God. But that's it. That's all I wanted to put out here today, is that the onus is on you to not let yourself be a victim of circumstance, but to be a champion of your own making and to take decisive action to improve your life in a way that nobody can get in your way, unless you want to get in your own way. Thank you very much for your time. And if you like this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Take care.